You are source energy in a physical body. You don't even know it. Maybe by the end of the day, you'll understand it more. You're vibrational mostly, which means you'll see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it senses. While they are enormously enjoyable and valuable and leading edgeable, they are not the true basis of your relationship with us or with your inner being. We are vibration, not speaking words here, just offering knowing. Esther's finding the words and doing a good job of it. But we are offering a vibration, and you are mostly vibration. And that resonance, that harmony, that's really what we're going for here. You'll discover it. You are pure positive energy. You are love. You are an expansion of what you think of as God. Not vengeful, loving, helping, assisting, always present, always aware of you, ever present, really. And you are not separate from that. Your emotions let you know that. When you feel really good, that means that the bandwidth, that's an awkward way of saying it, but it'll do. The bandwidth of your inner being in this moment in time, and the bandwidth of you, what you're focused upon, what you've been talking about and thinking about, the momentum you've got going, are a close enough frequency that you have a strong connection to that source energy part of you, and that's why you feel so good. You are letting you be you. But when you feel ornery or fearful, a slight pinching off or a big pinching off of that source energy that is always flowing to you, you feel way worse. You feel very uncomfortable. And the reason for that is you're not letting you be you. You're off in the bushes somewhere. You're calibrated to something else. And we get why. In this physical world, it's so easy to see things and to hear things. It's so easy to feel like when something is off, wrong, you're real big on right and wrong. When something is wrong, you want to push hard against the wrongness of it, not realizing that whenever you push against your perceived wrongness, you became a vibrational match to it, and you pinch yourself off from your perceived rightness of it. And so over time, we've been wanting to help you to understand that, and you're hard to convince of this because you've been following this track for most of your life, as have those parents and grandparents and so forth. But we want to convince you that that right and wrong that so many are clinging to in their justification of pushing against others, it does not exist in this non-physical vibrational universe that we are all a part of, because diversity is so valuable, and you knew that there would be many with different choices. So rather than trying to discern right, wrong, good, bad, and then once you've decided, push hard against what you consider to be wrong or bad, understand that whatever you're giving your attention to, that really, really wrong, really, really bad thing that you've come upon, by pushing against it, you are not separating yourself from it. You are engulfing yourself in it. You are calibrating to it, and therefore calibrating away from who you are. And that's why it feels so bad. So we don't want you to feel like you are without conscience or without guidance or without this non-physical, what you want to call central morality. There is that guidance for you, and we want to use a word that is not about right and wrong and not about good and bad. It's about truth. It's about true honing and calibrating to the whole of who you are. It's about finding resonance with the source that you were before you came into this body and the source that has evolved far since, ever since you've been here. That expanding becoming is the truth of you. So if you want to know what we mean by truth, and we don't think anybody'd have a hard time going along with it because it's the only thing that makes sense. When something manifests, it's got to be true. It's real. It's real. Just don't get hung up on trying to identify the whatever behind it, the motive behind it, or the rightness or the wrongness behind it. Just understand that in this universe that is vibrational and as extensions of that source energy and as the vibrational beings that you are, what you give your attention to will become true in your experience. It will manifest because that's the way the law of attraction works. And so rather than standing around like masses of humans are and trying to clump the right into this pile and the wrong into that pile and the good and the bad, and then pushing against, and in the process define your own truth, your own source, energy, love basis of clarity and expansion. Instead, you deviate from that and you don't feel good, and then most humans get very adamant about trying to push away this unwanted aspect of their society. But there's no such thing as pushing anything away. There's no getting rid of it. There's only attraction of it. When you see those things that you're shouting no at, you're not shouting no, you're vibrationally shouting yes. That's why it feels so confounding when stuff you know for sure that you do not want, and you believe with all your heart that you would not be promoting or supporting, is getting bigger and bigger because so many people are pushing against so many things, even though in the process of all of it, you are becoming truer and truer to who you really are. Did you catch a hint of that? Did it make a little bit of sense to you? It's a little shocking, isn't it? In other words, it's a little hard to hear, and surely not something that you feel ready to explain to most anybody because they'd get you for it. What do you mean there's no right and wrong? Well, look around. Which is the biggest pile? Well, it's over there. Well, they don't look that happy to me. The right ones or the wrong ones don't look happy. They look like they're depriving themselves of something. So, here's why. We're going to explain this to you in a new way. Have you been listening to us for a while? Have you heard us say that when you know what you don't want, that's when you know more clearly what you do want? And have you heard us say that step one is sifting and sorting through the variety that surrounds you, and really when you know what you don't want, you send off a rocket of what you do want? Sound familiar? So now we want to explain this to you in a more powerful way. You've also heard us say that every subject is two subjects. It's like picking up a stick, a subject stick, the money stick, or the lover stick, or the whatever label you want to put on it, stick. And this stick has two ends on it. One end is what you want, and the other end is the absence of what you want. That's all. It's what you want or the absence of what you want. And here's the thing that we really want you to hear. We've told it to you in other ways, but you're going to hear it more clearly here today. And it will dovetail into this right and wrong, good and bad truth thing that we're really wanting you to hear. Because this will set you free of all the things that have been confounding you. Really, it will. So let's say that something's going on. Let's say that you went to the mailbox and you got your mail, and bad news is there. Either something you expected isn't there, or something you didn't want is there. And you feel very strong negative emotion because you're actually unstable in your financial footing. You're fearful. Maybe your job isn't supporting you the way you want it to. Maybe your job is not even existing right now. Doesn't matter what the details of it are, but let's say, so you pick up the stick that says money or financial well-being, and you're focused on the, oh my God, what am I going to do, end of the stick. You feel it very strong. The thing that we want you to understand, more than anything that you have ever heard from us or ever will hear from us, when you activate this end of the stick, the unwanted end of the stick, you also activate the wanted end of the stick. In other words, when you know what you do not want, what you do want is active too. It's just that you don't have a bandwidth for what you do want because you've been living the indignity or the injustice or the unfairness or the unwantedness of whatever it is that's got your goat. And so even though you activated both ends of the stick, that's why the rocket of desire went off. You activated both ends of the stick, but you're not calibrated usually to the wanted end of the stick when you are suffering the not having something. Does that make sense to you? But you know who is calibrated to the wanted end of your stick? Your inner being. And everybody who hangs around with your inner being. And you know what it means when your inner being is focused, knows what you want. In other words, every time you know what you don't want, you're adding clarity to what you do want. You have sent so many pieces of information, vibrational pieces of information, that you have literally set forth like seeds that are germinating for all kinds of improvements in your life that will be yours when you're not calibrated to the I know what I don't want end of the stick. Practiced and so expert and so vibrationally tuned, so calibrated to your success and to your improvement, because that's how the whole world works. You've done such a good job of launching these rockets of desire, and your inner being is so fervent and so that there is a veritable fortune of abundance on all subjects that you care about, that your inner being is tending for your readiness, for your improvement on your bandwidth to receive it. But if you don't improve your bandwidth, it cannot be asserted into your experience, because there is no assertion. There's no assertion, there's only attraction. So you're doing such a wonderful job of step one. You know what you don't want on so many subjects, and you've launched so many desires. And we're not saying that you don't also know what you do want, but friends, most people are not vibrationally oriented to what they do want. Most are knowing what they don't want and believing that it takes hard work and suffering and a lot of people getting together and probably a whole lot of money and influence to get other people to behave so that I can feel better. Let's split this pie up in a more equitable way is what most people are thinking relative to abundance, not even realizing that they've created their own pie of which they are depriving themselves because they are fundamentally focused upon what they don't want. Their bandwidth is about lack instead of about receiving what they're wanting. And so you just keep creating more and more, and often depriving yourself of the more and more that you're creating. And that's why your feeling of injustice gets greater and greater, because you're too busy trying to find the right and the wrong of it instead of the truth of who you are, what you've created, what your inner being is holding in vibrational escrow for you. And once you realize that if it feels like love, it is the true you. And if it feels like hate, it's far from the true you. Now, we're not saying that you can't calibrate to a whole bunch of things. You can gather a lot of stuff and a lot of people and a lot of influence to you, but you will not find the happiness that you came to live unless you are in sync with your true self, with your total self. So now you know everything that we think is important for you to know. Have a nice day. Go hide some eggs. This was really fun for us. We're eager to talk with you about anything that you care about. Don't be surprised if we are eager to help you figure out what end of the stick you're on. And don't be surprised if we call you toward the other end of the stick. And don't be surprised if you can't get there right away, because there's a momentum that you have going. It's not because something is going wrong that you are stronger in knowing what you don't want. You're not doing anything wrong by not letting in the good stuff that you deserve. We get it. Your physical senses are so compelling. What you can see is much more compelling than what your emotions are telling you. For most people, at first. After a while, they won't be, though. When you get so clear about who you really are and how who you really are feels, you won't be willing to go off on tangents that feel awful just because that's the most popular approach that's going on right now. You won't do it. You'll start to show yourself that when you launch a rocket of desire and you get closer and closer to the frequency of that desire by, we'll show you some things today how to go about that, that circumstance and events will unfold for you to fully receive everything that you want. You'll look like a freak to most. Most people will say to you, how do you do that? You say, I just got over worrying about stuff. I got over pushing against stuff. I started looking more forward instead of backward. I stopped defending where I am and started appreciating where I am. Because where I am, all that I've lived, all this poverty that I am living has created a vibrational escrow for me that I mean to get my hands on. I'm going to get it out of that damn vortex that Abraham's been talking about and into my bank account. They said it's mine. I want it. I want it. But I'm going to go about it differently. I'm going to love it into my experience. I'm going to love me to have it in my experience instead of demanding. Most people think there's a pie that you're all sharing, a finite pie. And for centuries, millenniums really, you've been fighting over it. Somebody gets a bigger piece of it, you freak out. They're taking more than their fair share because you don't understand that everybody has their own pie. Your pie is in your vibrational escrow. You created your pie. You're depriving yourself of your own pie and blaming the others who are not depriving themselves of their pie. That's all. Nobody can get your pie. Nobody can even get a piece of your pie. Nobody can get anything that you've created except you. It's your truth, not theirs. You're not creating for them. You're not creating their reality. You're creating your reality. But you got to claim it by looking in the direction of it. And here's the most important thing that you'll hear from us today. You got to find some way to find the feeling of it, the easy existing feeling of it. You can't feel the absence of what you want, lover or money or bodily condition. You can't be feeling the absence of it and be in the mode of letting it in. And so we'll talk about how easy that progress is. So what do you want to talk about? Nothing is off limits. We're eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. Start right here.